A very good evening. You're just on time for GBS News at 9. It is always a pleasure to have you joining us. My name is Beatrice Njeri. Our sign language interpreter is Maureen Chebet. Engage us on our SMS line 21144 GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. Let's kickstart tonight's bulletin. Azimio One Kenya Coalition and Kenya Kwanza Alliance bipartisan teams failed to reach a consensus on pertinent issues as the discussions began in Nairobi on Thursday, the 20th of April 2023. On the other hand, Azimio Coalition team led by Raila Odinga, Martha Karua, among others, held a town hall meeting at Mothers Union Hall in Murang'a Town. Among issues discussed were troubled tea and coffee sector, milk industry and the high cost of living. The team also wants the last election server to be opened. Here are the details. Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party and Kenya Kwanza committee members had their first bipartisan meeting early today.
Composition, formalization, and the nature of talks.
In the inaugural meeting between the two teams, Azimio members opposed the inclusion of Eda's Member of Parliament Kenan, while Kenya Kwanza team wants Pokot South Member of Parliament David Kosing kicked out of Azimio team. The teams have also settled on two members, Rarienda Member of Parliament Otiende Amolo and the Rakanidi Member of Parliament Murugara Gitonga to lead the bipartisan talks.
The committee noted the concerns raised about its composition, formalization, and the nature of talks, whether parliamentary or extra-parliamentary, and agreed to engage on the matter further in consultation with the appointing authorities. The committee resolved that its members would do everything to promote and not to undermine or jeopardize the talks. Equally, we urge all the political players to refrain from statements that may be counterproductive.
The negotiation team has been urged to put interest of Kenyans at heart while leading the discussions and take up arising matters beyond them to the parliament.
We wish to assure Kenyans that the committee shall endeavor to resolve all the issues that shall come before us for the benefit of all Kenyans. We are committed and confident that this committee shall find lasting solutions to the concerns raised to it. Number 3, the first meeting was meant to set the climate to the talks about the actual talks.
The Kenya Kwanza team for the bipartisan talks comprises of Senators Mboni Karwale, Irari Segei, Esther Okenyuri, Member of Parliament Adan Kenan, George Murugara, Mwengi Mutuse, and Taita Taveta Women Representative Lydia Haika. Azimio settled on Senator Ledema Olekina, Edwin Sifuna, Enoch Wambua, Members of Parliament Millie Thiambo, David Kosing, Otiende Amolo, and Amina Mnyanzi. The 14-member team will be expected to set the ground rules for the talks, whose outcome will be tabled in Parliament within 90 days. On the other hand, Azimio Coalition team, led by Raila Odinga, Martha Karua, among others, held a town hall meeting at Mothers Union Hall in Murang'a Town. Among issues discussed were troubled tea and coffee sector, milk industry, and the high cost of living. The team also wants the last general election server to be opened.
Siku ya leo ni siku yenu. Sawa sawa. Ili muambie baba zile shida ambazo mko nazo. Aha ni hari ahera gohede akahede na kekuhede ile unakahede neruka.
Baba sio mtu wa kwenda kuomba mkate ya wenyewe. Ako na utulivu, anangojea saba tujue mkate ni ya nani.
Sasa tumesikia, tumejua shida ya wakulima wa majani chai, shida ya wakulima wa kahawa, shida ya wale wakulima wa maziwa. Sio? Tunajua hiyo shida ya watoto, ya vijana. Hapo sio? Sio? Mpaka ujue. Sasa mimi nimejisikia kwamba kazi hakuna.
Raila invited residents to turn up in large numbers and freely engage on the issues affecting them, saying similar engagements will be held in other parts of the country over the next couple of weeks. Beatrice Njeri, GBS News. The majority of Kenyans believe that President William Ruto won the August 2022 presidential elections. A new Tifa poll shows William Ruto, in fact, received the most votes compared to Raila Odinga, 48% versus 37%. The poll released on Thursday shows Tifa, however, notes that the split on this issue between President Ruto and Odinga voters is stark, with nearly equal numbers expressing the view that he did or did not achieve his 75% versus 71%. Similarly, the report highlights the fact that about the same proportion of those who say they voted for Odinga are not convinced that he won, indicates that Azimio claims that his election was stolen was not yet entirely convincing, even among his supporters. The poll had a positive 2.12% margin of error. The data was collected after the research firm conducted face-to-face interviews at the household level. The interviews were conducted in 9 regions: Central Rift Coast, the Lower Eastern, Mount Kenya, Nairobi, Northern Nyanza, South Rift, and Western. The interviews were conducted in Swahili and English. On August 15th, former IBC chairman Wafula Chebukati declared William Ruto as the president-elect after he defeated Raila and 2 other candidates in the August 9 poll. Ruto garnered 7.1 million votes, while Raila Odinga garnered 6.9 million votes. However, Raila Odinga rejected the results, terming them as null and void, and promised a bruising battle at the Supreme Court. The government has reinstated its budgetary support to the Kenya Red Cross. Speaking on Thursday, the 20th of April, during a tour of the Kenya Red Cross in South Sea, Nairobi, Ruto said the move has been informed by the huge humanitarian task that the society engages. He announced the new move will begin in 2023-2024 financial year with an allocation of 100 million Kenya shillings. To boost the splendid job that Kenya Red Cross does, the government will take a bill to Parliament to exempt the organization from paying fees to state agencies. The president, who is also the patron of the Kenya Red Cross, made an announcement when he attended a board meeting organized at its headquarters in South Sea, Nairobi. The president also noted that Kenya Red Cross has significantly strengthened community health system by investing in capacity building through training 88,403 community health promoters on universal health coverage and COVID-19. This was done in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and also directly by facilitating community health service delivery through 7,049 promoters in 29 counties.
Serikali ya Kenya itafanya kazi pamoja na shirika la Kenya Red Cross kwa yale majukumu ambayo yanaendesha ya kushughulikia hali za dharura katika taifa letu la Kenya. Wamekuwa ni washirika wetu wa karibu, na nimekubaliana na kamati ambayo inasimamia Kenya Red Cross ya kwamba vile ilivyokuwa pale mbeleni, Kenya Red Cross sasa tutakuwa na sehemu ya budget ya serikali ya Kenya ambayo tutasaidia Kenya Red Cross kila mwaka. I thank you for the selfless service that you continue to perform for our nation. In particular, I must especially appreciate Kenya Red Cross volunteers countrywide in their thousands for their courageous service and noble sacrifice. I know that there are hundreds of thousands of Kenyans out there volunteering to work with the Kenya Red Cross so that we can save lives. The Kenya Red Cross has significantly strengthened community health systems by investing in capacity building through the training of 88,000 community health promoters on universal health coverage and the COVID-19. This was done in collaboration with the Ministry of Health and also directly by facilitating community health service delivery through your own 7,049 promoters in 29 counties. And I want to thank you as an organization for what you are doing to complement what the government of Kenya is doing, especially in disaster management and in matters related to health.
The Law Society of Kenya, in partnership with Kenya Human Rights Commission and the victims of Karembe gold mine tragedy, held a peaceful march on Thursday, 20th of April 2023, to the Director of Public Prosecution to present a memorandum. The Deputy Director of Public Prosecution, Jacinta Nyamosi, in a press statement, reassured the victims of the Karembe gold mine tragedy that the office is committed to ensuring justice is served and it will give proper legal directions as to the long-standing wrangles that have characterized the operations at the Tindret mines. James Odhiambo with that report.
The Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, Jacinta Nyamosi, met with the families and friends of the Karembe gold mine tragedy, who held a peaceful march on Thursday, 20th April 2023, to the Director of Public Prosecutions to present a memorandum. The Deputy Director reassured the victims that the office is committed to ensuring justice is served.
Na kwa vile mkuu wa mashtaka anataka hiyo kesi kuwe bila tashwishi yoyote, alisema rudi mfanye investigation. Alisema kuna mambo mingi lazima ofisi ya DCI ifanye nini, imalize. Mkuu wa mashtaka Mr. Nurdin Haji ako na nyinyi, na tunasema poleni sana. Hakuna mtu anaweza taka kuona mtoto yake ameuliwa kwa hiyo njia.
However, the LSK president questioned the rule of law and the administration of justice by the delay in bringing suspects to book, and that will make sure that the Karembe gold mine victims find justice.
The investigations were taken up by the DCI headquarters, who completed investigations and made recommendations of a charge of murder against the suspects. A duplicate file was also forwarded to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution for perusal, direction, and further action in court. The prosecution applied to withdraw the case, citing areas in the investigation that had not been covered, that has left the families of the deceased, the community, and the public at large with many unanswered questions. The DPP's failure to give reasons as to his withdrawal is a clear violation of Article 10 of the Constitution and Section 4 of the DPP Act.
Charles Kosgei and Michael Odhiambo, relatives of the deceased in the gold mine tragedy, are still left with wounds in their hearts as they call on the ODPP to look into their cases and serve them with justice.
Kwa majina naitwa Pastor Charles Kosgei. Mimi ni moja ya waathiriwa katika hii kesi ya Karembe gold mine. Kama resolution ya ODPP haitatutosheleza, basi tutatafuta ofisi nyingine ambayo iko juu yake kidogo. Tunaanzia hata kwa president, tukitoka kwa president tukiona hatujafanyiwa haki, tunaenda kwa international court.
Kwa jina ni Michael Odhiambo. Mimi ni ndugu ya Geoffrey Onyango, yenye alifariki kwa mine. Vile kesi ilijajiwa tarehe 11, ni kama ilikuwa imetupwa, na nilisikia uchungu mpaka nikasema hii dunia tutakuwa aje, lakini niliachia Mungu.
Karembe gold mine, which started its operations in 2009, is located in Nandi County, Tinderet sub-county. In January 2023, there was a tragic accident that took the lives of 3 people and 6 others seriously injured. The DPP constituted a team of 6 prosecutors, led by the Deputy Director in charge of convictional and related crimes, in whose docket this matter falls. The team have specific instructions to engage with the team of investigators drawn from the DCI with the view of guiding the investigations so as to establish, among other issues, 1. To procure a report from the Ministry of Mining to determine whether the special prospecting licenses as issued to the Karembe Gold Mining Limited extends beyond the boundaries of the land in the disputed case, and to better understand the scope of the said license. 2. To liaise with the Director of Survey at the Ministry of Lands for purposes of determining the exact ground and underground boundaries with regards to the operations of both mining companies as per the issued licenses. 3. To acquire the mining application forms and procedures for licensing as filled by Karabe Gold Mining Limited and Chemathia Miners, alongside the company's registration particulars from the relevant government agencies. The ODPP will give a further comprehensive brief in the matter once the above key areas are identified, amongst other areas of concern have been covered. James Odhiambo, GBS News.
The Advocates Complaint Commission has recovered over 6 million Kenyan shillings from 2022 to March this year, withheld by advocates without justification, and that was meant for clients who requested their services to pursue court cases. The recovered monies were also as a result of complaints filed by Kenyans against advocates for a failed advocate-client relationship, for either clients seeking services for a rogue advocate or advocates failing to attend court as agreed, and also dishonesty. During the 2021-2022 financial year, the Commission recovered over 23 million Kenyan shillings from advocates which were returned to Kenyans who suffered from the failed advocate-client relationship. The Secretary to the Commission, George Nyakundi, says the Commission also subjected about 352 complaints against advocates to the alternative dispute resolution mechanism during the last financial year. During the same period, the Commission received about 1,003 complaints from Kenyans against advocates, which translated to about 84 complaints per month. From July last year to March 31st this year, the Commission has received over 600 complaints. Speaking in Kakamega during a sensitization forum on the mandate of the Commission, Nyakundi said they have already filed 114 fresh charges against advocates at the Advocates Disciplinary Committee received from July last year to March this year.
Financial year, we filed 212 complaints against advocates at the disciplinary committee. We also, for this financial year, from July to 31st of March, we have filed 114 fresh charges against advocates at the disciplinary committee. And in respect of the process of trying to bring the advocate and client together, we have conducted this financial year over 200 matters. We have submitted to ADR, Alternative Dispute Resolution Mechanisms, to try and bring the advocate and the client together. And the process, we have so far facilitated the return of some of the documents that the advocates could be holding, and also facilitated receipt of over 6 million shillings, which the advocates are withholding without justification.
And actually, most people didn't know that they need to know that information, and they didn't know that active advocates, some are inactive. It was done practically. So I'm appealing to Kenyans in all counties that the Complaint Commission is going to visit. May you appear in large numbers so that you can benefit and be ambassadors of the Complaint Commission, in that you will go and train the rest of your community. Thank you.
Order has been put there. There are various, and in this distribution order normally they have the information. The first discuss.
Once again, thank you for joining this live broadcast today, Thursday, the 20th of April, 2023. And on that note, let's take our very first break. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Talking, a program where we share stories of people who are changing the world.
Where are the jobs? Where do I get the next money from?
And what it brings out is that it can be done. Most of us, or most of the entrepreneurs, one of the things that they have failed to know is to think that you're having a solution without really a well-defined problem.
When you go to college, you go there alone. You fill the application forms alone, and at the end of the day, you either graduate alone, you don't graduate as a group.
If there is a dream in you, go for it. Don't stop. When the opportunity comes your way, do it excellently.
Behind every successful person, there is a mindset that propels them to live that successful life. And at Talking, we want to bring those people closer to you so that you can be able to listen to their stories of perseverance, their stories of overcoming limitations and also challenges, with the keywords of happiness and also challenge.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back. You're still watching GBS News at 9. The SMS line is 21144. GBS TV on all our social media handles. Insurance broker Minet Kenya has today unveiled an insurance cover that allows small and medium enterprises in Kenya to mitigate against risks they feel most vulnerable as low as 5,000 Kenyan shillings. The cover, dubbed Business Sure, is a comprehensive and customizable insurance policy that allows SMEs to choose the type of insurance they need based on their specific risks and business requirements. Speaking during the launch in Nairobi, Minet Kenya Chief Executive Officer Sami Muthui affirmed the insurance firm commitment to continue developing and offering innovative solutions that cater for the needs of every Kenyan. Let's take a look.
Insurance broker Minet Kenya has today unveiled an insurance cover that allows small and medium enterprises in the country to mitigate against risk they feel most vulnerable for as low as 5,000 Kenyan shillings. The cover, dubbed Business Sure, is a comprehensive and customizable insurance policy that allows SMEs to choose the type of insurance they need based on their specific risk and business's requirements. Speaking during the launch in Nairobi, Minet Kenya's Chief Executive Officer Sami Muthui affirmed the insurance firm's commitment to continue developing and offering innovative solutions that cater for the needs of every Kenyan business.
So without adequate insurance coverage, SMEs may struggle to recover from losses and could even be forced to close their business permanently. So ladies and gentlemen, it is on this premise that Minet, in partnership with Fidelity Insurance, mooted the Business Sure proposition, a tailor-made solution for the needs of you, the Kenyan entrepreneur. Whether you are starting out in business as a startup or running a bigger outfit.
According to Fidelity Insurance CEO Richard Morrison, Business Sure offers unique, differentiated, and customized comprehensive coverage options to cover against property damage, liability, theft, business interruption, and various other risks which may affect the owner, employees, and third parties.
So what we have tried to do with Business Sure is to make sure that we are offering a solution which is unique, a solution which is differentiated, and a solution which is customizable to cover all the perils, including property damage, liability, theft, business interruptions, and various other risks which may affect the owner, employees, and even third parties.
Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry President Richard Ngatia also urged SMEs to take advantage of the solution by Minet and Fidelity to mitigate unforeseeable risks.
It is important for all businesses to secure their businesses. And so we want to invite Minet to work with us as the chamber. We as the chamber, we are working very closely, not only with the East African community, but across Africa. within Commercial region, within the Great Lakes region, SADC, just to make sure that there are opportunities for you.
According to the Ministry of Industrialization, Trade and Enterprise Development, there are approximately 7.4 million MSMEs in Kenya, accounting for roughly a third, which is 24% of the country's GDP. Though impressive, that contribution is far lower than, for example, that of South Africa at 55%, indicating there is still an opportunity to grow the sector. The announcement comes at a time when Kenya's economy is projected to grow by 5.3% this year, according to the latest International Monetary Fund (IMF) projection, signaling the recovery of SMEs in the post-pandemic era. Hilary Kabila, GBS News.
The Kenya Tea Development Agency (KTDA) management has announced that 37 tea factories in east of Rift spread in Kiambu, Murang'a, Nyeri, Kirinyaga, Meru and Embu counties lost 100 million kilos of tea as a result of the biting drought. While addressing the 225 directors drawn from the 37 tea factories in Mount Kenya at Embu, the KTDA chairman David Ishoho said that the drought experienced during the first half of the year and occasioned by climate change has taken a toll on tea farming in Mount Kenya, resulting to a loss of 100 million kilograms of tea. The KTDA chair said that Kenya is targeting to increase its value tea percentage from the current 5% to 50% in the next 5 years so as to sell more tea. He said that by tea factories embracing the KTDA management structure will ensure that it brings down the management fee of the tea factories from 2.5 million Kenya shillings to 1.5 million Kenya shillings, and also to ensure that all tea regions produce quality tea. The KTDA management disclosed that there has been high demand in the international markets for Kenya's orthodox tea.
Makubaliano ambayo directors wamekubaliana, tutaserve mkulima kwa roho moja na tutaendelea kuona vile mkulima anaendelea kupata pesa kwa wingi kwa mfuko yake. Nikitaka kukumbusha ya kwamba this sector tunaonelea market sana, saa hii inaelekea upande wa orthodox tea. Na tunaonelea market yetu ama soko yetu saa hii wanunuzi wa manjani chai saa hii wanalenga sana sana upande wa orthodox, na pia tunakubaliana vile tutaegemea upande ule ndio pia mkulima akaweze kupata pesa zaidi. Na kupitia kabla huu mwaka uishe tutakuwa tumeingia katika hiyo line, ndiposa tuweze kuuza orthodox grains ambazo zina fetch pesa mingi sana zaidi ya $6, $7 hivi, na itakuwa furaha kwetu tukiona vile wakulima watasaidika.
Controversy has continued to rock members of IDP group over the disposal of properties worth millions of shillings. The former internally displaced persons that formerly camped at Mawingu in Mirangin and Nyandarua County had acquired 160 acres of land at Mawingu, 2 building block making machines, a vehicle, among other assets. They were resettled by government at Shalom Farm in Makutano area, Laikipia County, in 2012, with majority of the members agreeing to sell and share the proceeds of the properties among the 3,200 members, but efforts to share them equally has always hit a snag. A faction of members led by their treasurer Sarah Muthoni Kimani and 23 other members had been blocking the process to sell the properties. In 2016, the Plinter Group obtained a court order blocking the process of selling the property when the other group, led by their national chairman Peter Kariuki, went to meet 5 prospective buyers at the then Nyandarua County Commissioner Joseph Kimiti in Ol Kalou town. The order that had obtained from the High Court in Nakuru was served on Mr. Kariuki and his vice chairman Michael Wainaina. In October 2021, the Chief Magistrate's Court sitting in Nyahururu ruled in favor of Kariuki-led group, allowing the sale of the properties.
Na mimi naishi hapa kwa hii shamba yetu, na wakati tulikuja hapa tulikuwa na shida mingi sana, kwa sababu mali tulikuwa tukiishi kulikuwa kubaya sana. Tulikuwa tukimwaga maji kwa jirani. Kwa hivyo hiyo ni mguu kidogo sana. Sisi tunataka pesa. Kwa hivyo mimi nataka pesa, sitaki kumwaga maji kwa jirani.
Na baada ya muda sisi tumekuwa na wazo ya kwamba kipande chetu ambayo tulikuwa tumenunua imefika wakati sisi tukipeane, maana ilikuwa mali yetu. Na imefika wakati ya kwamba kuna watu ambao baada ya kupewa mashamba walikatalia mle ndani. Wamekuwa wakikodesha hiyo shamba na kulima na kujinufaisha na mali ya watu wengi.
Shamba watuletee pesa. Swali tunauliza, hii shamba ina shida gani? Sababu shamba ni yetu, na kama imeshindikana tuambue sisi wenyewe tuende kule. Serikali na wafanyakazi wa serikali watoke kando. Tuingie kwa mali zetu, sisi tuamue na mali yetu. Kama ni kuuza, basi kama vile tutafanya kama wanashamba, sisi wenyewe tufanye.
Wamama wajane wanalia hapa na shida. Lakini yeye kwa maana amekula ameshiba, ameonesa Mungu tumbo. Yako imefika mwisho siku ya leo.
And now away from that to international news, Sudan's battling factions both claim to have made gains on Monday as violence cut power and water in the capital. And the UN envoy to Sudan said the two sides showed no signs of being willing to negotiate. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said on Tuesday that a U.S. diplomatic convoy came under fire in Sudan in an apparent attack by fighters linked to the Parliamentary Rapid Support Forces, calling the incident reckless and irresponsible. Blinken spoke in Japan. On the other hand, Japan is planning to use a plane from its military self-defense forces for the evacuation of about 60 Japanese citizens currently in Sudan in coordination with other major countries. Jennifer Macau with that report.
Fighting between the army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces (RSF) has killed at least 185 people and injured more than 1,800 people. Japan's chief cabinet secretary has confirmed authorities were planning to use a plane from its military self-defense forces for the evacuation of about 60 Japanese citizens currently in Sudan in coordination with other major countries. Widespread power and water cuts caused by the fighting have left residents struggling in the final days of the holy month of Ramadan, when Muslims fast between dawn to dusk and put most hospitals out of service. On his visit to Japan on Tuesday, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken revealed that U.S. convoy was attacked despite its vehicle being marked with a diplomatic license plate and bearing U.S. flags. Initial reports suggest the attack was undertaken by RSF-associated forces, he said, calling the action reckless. The fighting in Khartoum and its adjoining sister cities of Omdurman and Bari since Saturday is the worst in decades and risks tearing Sudan between two military factions that had shared power during a rocky political transition. Intergovernmental Authority of Development (IGAD) team led by Kenya's President Dr. William Ruto has called for an immediate cessation of hostilities between the warring parties in Sudan. President William Ruto asked IGAD leaders to take a firm position on the crisis to restore peace in the country.
The parties to the framework agreement have been engaged in military confrontation. The indiscriminate deployment of lethal power and air power by both RSF and SAF has targeted military and non-military targets.
The president spoke on Sunday during a virtual meeting with IGAD heads of state on the deteriorating security in Sudan. Those in the emergency sessions were President Salva Kiir of Sudan, Yoweri Museveni of Uganda, Ismail Omar Guelleh of Djibouti, and Hassan Sheikh Mohammed of Somalia. The leaders called on the Transitional Sovereign Council, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and General Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo to stop the war and return to the negotiating table. It is not clear when a truce will be found between the warring parties in the one-time biggest country in the Eastern African region. This is an humanitarian catastrophe. Sounds of explosion, sights of low fighter jets echoing throughout into the night, and houses of helpless civilians are being hit. UN World Programme has suspended its operations after 3 of its employees were killed, making it impossible to send help to Sudan. Residents say they have never seen anything like this, wondering when this tug of war will come to an end and how they will heal and resume to a normal life again. Jennifer Macau, GBS News.
Very, very sad indeed, and we do hope there's a solution that will end the tug of war in Sudan. And now away from that, for the lovers of sports, it is time for the sports news. But first, let's take a quick commercial break.
Nakukaribisha tena katika makao makuu yako katika ulimwengu wa michezo.
Yoga is not a sport. Yoga is actually a way of life.
Ukiona FIFA inaingilia kati, it means that the FIFA rules have been violated.
From day one akiingia kwa akademi yako, unamwambia masomo na talent lazima ziende. The moment unasikia masomo imeenda chini, hata time out. Hata hiyo time out kwa football na kando.
Yeah, wanawake ni wengi actually mpaka saa hizi. Tumekaa ni kama tumekuwa wanawake wamekuwa wengi kuliko wanaume. Kuna wale ambao ni artistic. Yes, wanapenda mambo ya kuigiza.
I am coded to look for solutions.
You limit yourself, not the sport doesn't limit you.
We say a dedicated women-only show that focuses only on women.
Everywhere, GBS.
The president of the Athletes Kenya, General Tuwei, presented a report to the Cabinet Secretary of Youth and Sport Affairs, Ababu Namwamba, today at Nairobi that will be approved and published by the ministry. The report comprises of a multi-agency working group that will be led by Athletes Kenya, Anti-Doping Agency of Kenya, and Athletics International Union, and will work to develop and propose strategies from steering committee and work in accordance to the budget. McDonald with that report.
President of Athletics General Tuwei, who is the end of the steering committee that was appointed by the CS of Youth and Sport Affairs in order to come up with a strategy of curbing doping in the country, today presented a report that will be approved and published by the ministry. Kenya is in category A in doping, and it may ruin the nation's reputation if no proper action is taken. The government, through the Ministry of Sport, has shown full commitment in curbing the menace by allocating funds for proper facilitation. Speaking during the meeting, the CEO of Anti-Doping Agency of Kenya, which is also the part of the steering committee, Sarah Shibutse, said they have been working very closely with the Athletics Kenya so that each team selected to perform their duties are allowed to perform their mandate.
As an anti-doping agency, we have been working very closely with Athletics Kenya just to ensure that any mandatory requirement they have from the Athletics Integrity Unit, they are able to fulfill so that the teams that they select to participate in any international competition are allowed to participate.
On their report, a multi-agency working group to support the development and implementation of the strategic plans of curbing the menace. These working groups will be led by the Anti-Doping Agencies of Kenya, the Athletics Kenya, and Athletics International Union, who will engage as required with Kenya government agencies and other organizations to support their work. Each group is supposed to develop and propose to the steering committee a strategy that will go in accordance with the budget, then implement the strategy once approved. The working groups are divided into different structures, which include testing, intelligence and investigations, education, sports regulations, the legal formalities, and the science of the medical health. General Tuwei, President of Athletics Kenya, thanked the CS for giving them a chance and showing full commitment in all this process, and the assurance he gave to the Anti-Doping International Unit, who earlier visited the country.
We are happy and very grateful to the CS who assured them that the government of Kenya will commit and make sure that this process is supported. And we want to thank him very sincerely for the support that he has given us. And that is why the council then decided to give us a chance to see how we can approach this.
On his side, the Cabinet Secretary of Youth and Sport Affairs, Ababu Namwamba, termed integrity as the main key in sport and zero tolerance to any form of cheating.
The Ministry and of Government. Zero tolerance to doping. Zero tolerance to doping is a key strategic intervention of this ministry and of government overall. The ministry has prioritized clean sports. The ministry has put a premium on integrity in sports. And the ministry has declared total war on all forms of cheating in sports. And that is why for us, zero tolerance to doping is a war we cannot afford to lose. It is a war we must win by all means at any cost.
He termed sport as the main thing that has branded the country, especially athletics, which has a huge reputation. Thus, they won't allow unscrupulous characters ruin the nation's reputation and legacy that has been built for 60 years since the nation gained independence.
So we are a country that has occupied a very, very premium place in the world of sports. And it is a heritage we are proud of. In fact, when you talk about the Kenyan heritage, sports and especially athletics is at the heart of the Kenyan heritage. And that is why we have decided that we will not allow a few unscrupulous characters, we will not allow a few selfish criminal elements to soil this precious heritage that has been built painstakingly for the 60 years we have existed as an independent nation. We must honor the memory of great Kenyan.
Reporting for GBS TV, I'm McDonald.
AFC Leopards officials today held a press conference opposing the decision made by the committee after their match with Kakamega Homeboys was abandoned on Sunday after a crowd invaded the field. AFC was subjected to a number of penalties which they termed as unfair, and the committee disregarded their presentation. Let's take a look.
As a management, we felt it was very unfair and it was not in the spirit of fair play and football. We express our deep disappointment and concern over the unfair decision of the FKF League and Competition Committee regarding the match between Kakamega Homeboys and AFC Leopards. During the hearing, there was a hearing, and during the hearing conducted by the committee, we presented compelling evidence to highlight the inadequate security measures and poor officiating that marred the match. We also raised serious concerns about the biased and unreliable nature of the match commensayer's report, which seems to have influenced the committee's decision. However, it is disappointing to note that our presentation was disregarded by the committee, and the decision did not take into account the issues of inadequate security and poor officiating that significantly impacted the outcome of the match. This raises questions about the fairness and credibility of the committee's proceedings and their commitment to uphold the principles of justice and fairness in football.
The Cabinet Secretary of Youth and Sport Affairs, Honorable Ababu Namwamba, today signed an MOU with Trace with the main aim of upholding talents by monetizing them through the Talanta Hela initiative. Trace will provide a wide range of online presence and offer platforms and training to local artists as the government makes its first MOU for promotion of production, marketing of production for creatives in the country. McDonald with the full report.
The Cabinet Secretary of Youth and Sport Affairs, Ababu Namwamba, today signed an MOU with Trace Music Distribution Company, with the main agenda being upholding talent under Talanta Hela Initiative. Talanta Hela Initiative is a program under the new Hustler government that is aiming at monetizing talent or converting talent to money and improving the livelihood of those who depend on art. The Hustler government is aiming at empowering as a bottom-up transformation agenda. Under the agenda, the government is keen on inclusivity, which will make sure everybody is included on the circle and no one will be left out. The government is keen to offer platforms that will enable everyone exploit the spaces. Speaking during the meeting, the managing director of Trace in East Africa, Danny Moshira, said their main aim is to empower the youth and give them opportunities, and that they will be able to realize their ability to participate in mainstream economic.
Trace is an empowerment platform. We work mostly with the youth. We are here to ensure that our youth are empowered. The youth is a huge part of our population, and if we are to reap the youth dividend in this country, we need to ensure that we create opportunities that, one, empower them, but two, they're able to realize our ability to participate.
He's saying that the MOU will be able to do so through music to drive inclusivity to the youth of this country in the mainstream economy.
I think this MOU sets the ground to be able to do that through music, where we're going to be able to look at how do we use music as a platform to drive inclusivity for the young people in this country.
It is the first time the ministry and the government is signing an MOU, promotion of production, marketing of production of creatives in this country. Speaking during the meeting, the Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba assured creatives that under this regime, they will enjoy a new dawn.
My message to the creatives of Kenya, and in this case, this particular case, 2 days ago, it was about thespians and their theater. Today, it's about musicians. I can assure you that under the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, you can sit back and enjoy a new dawn.
He's saying that the MOU will help creatives in providing a number of significant things. For example, using trace platforms in training, protection of intellectual properties, wide online presence by Trace, and the platforms will be under disposal of musicians. There will be free distribution of musician content. They will hold national talent searches.
The MOU we signed this morning will offer Kenyan musicians a number of significant things or openings or opportunities. Number one, under this MOU, we will use the Trace platform. And those of you who are familiar with the Trace offers multiple platforms. Trace offers an international television platform, Trace TV. Trace offers one of the most wide online presence. Trace is big in the virtual space. Trace also offers a training platform through Trace Academia. We are placing all these platforms at the disposal of Kenyan artists. And under this MOU, we are going to do promotional work together with the Trace, between the ministry and Trace. We're going to roll out a talent search program. And I know Kenyans will say, we have previously had talent searches, but what has happened to the best talents that have emerged out of those searches? That is the question we are answering with this MOU. Because what is not seen and heard never happened. If it is not seen, if it is not heard, it never happened. However talented you are, if we do not give you a platform to be seen and to be heard, you don't exist. This platform, this partnership with Trace will, number one, enable us to unearth you wherever you are. We are going to do a nationwide program to search for talent. You can call it Kenyan Idol, you can call it Kenya's Got Talent, whatever it is, we are going to brand it. It is going to be run as part of the Talanta Hela program. We will go across the country. We will unearth raw gems, diamonds in the rough. Through Trace Academia, we will polish those diamonds.
Reporting for GBS TV, I'm MacDonald.
Thank you, MacDonald, for giving us that detailed report. And a big thank you for joining this live broadcast. The SMS line is 21144 and GBS TV Africa on all our social media handles. Remember to eat safe, drive safe. My name is Beatrice Njeri. Our sign language interpreter is Maureen Chabet. Good night.